Hi guys, are you struggling with understanding what should be the lighting or how should you manage the lighting for your videos? And would you like to create some sort of setup like this? Well, you're not alone. I was exactly at your place somewhere around a year ago when I didn't know anything about this lighting, and I was searching like crazy on Google, on YouTube, and there was just so much information. It's just that I couldn't find all this information in a very easier to consume way. So I just spent hours and hours searching and literally months trying to understand what should be the right lighting, the type of lighting, so that it has the right effect, it portrays the exact effect that I want the person, the onlooker to see, and just so many more things. Well, in today's video, in like couple of minutes, I'm going to help you understand a lot about the basics of lighting. So, we are going to talk about the 3-point lighting to start with, and after that, if you stick with me till the end, I'm going to tell you something that you can do in camera to help your lighting thing. Basically, you can do something in camera which is also the objective of the lighting, so that the subject comes a little out of the background, it looks 3D, it looks more cinematic, and the focus of the viewer is on the subject. Okay, so the 3-point lighting has basically 3 lights. That is why it's called the 3-point lighting. It's nothing complex. Basically, I'm going to talk about from the priority. The top priority is that you need a key light. The key light is the key light. That means it's the main light source of this particular setup. What it does is it lights the subject, the majority part of the subject. In our case, we have the light just here, which is at a 45 degree. You can of course put it in front of the subject, but that is really flat. Rather, if you put at a 45 degree, it gives some sort of depth to the subject itself. It creates a contrast. Then the second light is the fill light, basically to reduce the contrast that you have from the key light. And the third is the backlight, which is kept on the same side of the key light, where it highlights the subject so that it looks a little more 3D and comes out of the background. Now, let's understand it. Let's go to the board and then try to understand the principles of it. The objective is, if you just understand the principles, you can use the same concept and use it, customize it for you, because you will not have the exact setup that I have, and I have invested a lot of money, not so much, but still enough amount of money in these months. And if you're just starting, you don't require all of these equipments. And I'm also going to tell you a trick right now in this video, which I'm using right now in this video, to not have too many lights which are required, but then still get a very good overall cinematic looking, pleasing setup. So, did you see, like in 2 seconds the whole scene changed? Before it was looking much more pleasant and professional. Right now, not so much. Why? Because the lighting is not so proper. Now, there's one big reason why the lighting is not so proper, because there is a whiteboard. Whiteboard is a reflective surface. This is a glossy light board, so it's really difficult to shoot videos at the light board. That's why we never use it for any of our online lessons when we are shooting, because, as I said, it's difficult. So that's why we have other arrangements in this room. Okay, but I think for our purpose right now, just for this explanation, it makes sense. You can read everything. Now, just to give you a perspective, this is a camera, the key light, backlight, fill light, background. This is basically the 3-point lighting. Now, let's compare with where we were before. You were looking at me from this side. So there was the camera. Okay, there is the camera. You are looking like this. Like my brother here, okay, I was sitting here, okay, and the background was there. The key light was on my right, the fill light here, and the backlight the same side of the key light. Okay, the same thing is here. The subject, key light, the fill light, the backlight, and the background. Okay, of course you can put the key light on the other side, but then if you put the key light on the other side, backlight also goes. Fill light is always on the opposite. Okay, now if I just have to compare, don't confuse, this part is not so important anyway. Just to give you a perspective of this diagram as to where it was before. Okay, if I just take this whole diagram outside, okay, and then I rotate it in this way. So basically, the camera goes here, the key light goes this direction, the backlight goes there where you are right now, and the fill light is the opposite side of the key light. Okay, now a couple of things. The key light looks something like this. Okay, you see it's a big source of light. It is not so near. I'll keep it really like far, somewhere around 4 feet from here. Okay, because it's quite a strong light. Then when we talk about fill light, in this case, I just told you before that this particular surface, the whiteboard, is a glossy surface. It reflects light. So instead of using a light here, I'm using this reflection. Not only is it less expensive because I don't have to put another light, but it's not really needed. This acts as a very soft, big light for me. Okay. Then the other thing that you have to note is the fill light has to be less than half as strong as the key light, because otherwise there are two key lights. The subject would be too lit and you don't get that 3D feel. Okay, so that's why this acts as a fill light. If I have to cover it, I can use this curtain when I want to block it to give a different feel. Okay, and then my backlight is there. Right now my backlight is fixed. You should always try to have a bigger backlight. The bigger the light, the softer it is. But nevertheless, you can always use something like that, something like this. Okay. And I think it's really inexpensive. It's easy to carry around also. So the backlight is that direction. Now what we'll do is, all of this that I've explained, we'll go back to the previous setup. I'll sit there again. And what I'll do is, I'll switch on only the key light. You will see the difference. I'll close the curtain, okay, so that you'll see that high contrast. Then I'll open the curtain. Now you'll see the key light and the fill light without the backlight. Then we'll switch on the backlight as well. You will see how it helps me pop out of the whole background. In addition, I'll also show you certain other things that we can do. I'm not going to go in too much detail about the lighting per se, and then we'll go to that bonus point which I wanted to explain. Okay, so this is how our current setup is, where no lights are on. So now let's see what happens when the key light is on. Okay, so I'm sure right now it looks annoying because there's a lot of light on one side of my face. So this sort of light would be used when you want to create that sense of anger or horror in the subject. Not horror, sorry, anger. So where like why did you do this? Okay, so I'm angry. But of course, in normal videos, do not keep the lights so close to you because it highlights all the imperfections too much. So what we'll do is we'll just keep it a little bit at a distance. Okay, so now it looks correct. Now you see that, okay, one part of my face, of course, is still a little too contrasty. There's no other light right now. So now for the second part, what we are going to do is we are going to switch on the fill light. In our case, as I've said earlier, we're just going to remove this curtain. Right now we are blocking the board to reflect anything. And then as soon as we open the curtain, it's going to become sort of a reflector so that it's going to reduce the contrast. Now let's see that. Okay, so now you see that as soon as the board is acting as a reflector, you have some sort of contrast is reducing. I look more human. But now there is one other thing. At this point, if you notice the shoulders here, they do not have a very distinct lining, and that's why it sort of appears that I'm quite closer. I'm sort of a part of the background. Now what we want to do is, we want to make sure that I have an outline so that it looks that I'm a complete 3D object which is away from the background. So for that, we are going to switch on the backlight. Okay, so now you see that this part has some sort of outline, and plus here there is more light on sort of the back part of me. So this helps this subject to be not a part of the background. Now of course, you can do many other things to make the overall look a little bit better. For example, okay, so you see that now the whole scene looks a little more professional and a little more pleasant per se. We'll cover this part of the lighting in another video. Okay, so as far as the 3-point lighting is concerned, please don't think that the whole setup is so expensive. We are just going to put all the links of the things that we have. We are using very cheap stuff, which I think you can get in less than 100 euros. So check the links below. And so for those of you who have stayed with me at this point of time, until this point of time, I'm going to tell you that trick that you can use. And of course, as I've started the video also saying that you have to understand the basics of it. So it's about the depth of field. In camera, if you reduce the depth of field, so that is infinity where everything is there. But then if I just reduce the depth of field, right now in the video, you are just seeing me. And if you notice, can you read the titles of the books? You cannot. So that is the blur. So it gives you more of a cinematic effect. Now, if you don't know how to reduce the depth of field, etc., I'll again put another video where I'm just going to explain all the basics of the camera, where we're going to talk about the aperture, the ISO, etc. I know those things are actually very complicated because 1 year ago for me, all of those things were really, really difficult. So I'm going to talk about it in another video. So okay, that's it for this video, guys. Please like this video if you appreciated whatever was the content here, and subscribe to this channel. And this channel is not just about the photography and lighting, etc. We are also doing a lot of other things. For example, we have a lot of really good motivational videos. Please go and check out this channel and let me know in the comments if you liked it, if you disliked it, anything. That's it. Thank you so much.